Greetings and welcome to another video on Nick's Vision to Hear. Today it's a video about time management. Now this is a bit of a different topic because there's varying degrees of time management skills that particularly the hearing impaired may do to those of the vision impaired. But let's bring it together and try and put some sort of perspective into this. Let's look at transport for a start. Transport time management's a real kicker for particularly those who have been told they can't have driver's licenses. So our time management's a little bit different to somebody who does have a driver's license, but they may have time management issues in the fact that their disability affects them getting somewhere even with a driver's license. That's also a factor as well. So let's talk about time management when leaving home. So this is one that can vary, but there's certainly an element of crossover in this area. Being prepared to leave home, making sure that you have everything with you is important. So you might look at the various things you need, making sure you know the steps to getting those things organized easily, so you don't forget anything. That's important for everybody, particularly for the vision impaired, because you've got to go and find those things, and that's not always easy to do. So make sure where you put them is in a good spot to find, an easy spot to find, an easy spot to remember where to find them. So let's talk about a person with a vision impairment as opposed to someone who has a hearing impairment. The hearing impaired visually can still see, so they're able to see what they need. It's things that they need where they need a bit of hearing, they may have a problem. So let's combine the two together. Take the time to stop. Just stop about 20 minutes before you leave to go anywhere and think, what do I need? Where do I need to find it, to get it, and make sure I have it with me when I leave? That's important. It's just to stop, clear the memory, and realize what you need to take. Let's now talk about the spontaneous phone call leaving. This is where a friend will ask you around or a family member will ask you around. You need to make sure quickly that you've got those things, but you also need to tell that person that you're going to need a bit more time to get there because of your transport requirements. That's very important. They must understand that you are not just going to pick the keys up and magically there's a taxi out the front ready to pick you up. Sometimes you can be waiting a long time for transport to get to you or for you to get to transport. That's important. The other thing also to remember, particularly for a person with a vision impairment, takes them a little bit longer to try and get things together because they've got to try and find things a little bit slower. So a person with a hearing and vision impairment is going to get a double whammy. So we're in a very unique situation. But let's talk about the time when you go to leave. You need to make sure that you've got everything with you. So just last minute checks to make sure, because you can't come back easily. Because the person with the car can park around the corner and go, oh, I forgot something, do a U-turn, come back. You do that in a cab, it's going to cost you more money than you have envisaged to pay for. So be aware of that you're going to have to be aware that you've got everything you need with you. The other thing also to remember is to make sure that you know the person's address. That's very important. So you know exactly where you're going. Many apps today will ask for your ending address, and just make sure you clarify with that person where they live, because the last thing you want to be doing is hanging laps of a street to try and find someone's house. That's not always easy. Particularly a person with a vision impairment can't see numbers. So you're relying on the cab driver to tell you which number it is. So yeah, be aware of that as well. Now, when you're leaving someone's house to return home, explain to the person that you will have to wait out the front of their home, or they're going to have to wait around for you to leave. This is important, particularly when you've been invited to someone's house and they've got to go and pick their kids up. You may have to stand at the front of their home alone to wait for your transport. That's important to understand because the person may have to leave their home. Could be pouring rain, could be stinking hot, and you're left out front on your own. Make sure the person understands that you've got to wait for your transports to get you home. Now, the main important thing of this video is to make it's not really for the vision impaired person, it's for the vision impaired and hearing impaired person's families to understand this. It's not always easy for us to get somewhere. Just respect that. Don't offer to pick us up. Let us be independent to get to where you are. Yes, it costs us money. That's true. But if you were in our situation, you would want to do the same thing. So just understand, we need things done a little bit differently to help us get around. If you like this video, feel free to like the video down below and also make a comment. Are you a person who cares for a person with a vision or hearing impairment? Are you a family member who may not understand what I've just told you that, oh, I don't understand this. Can you tell me more information? We certainly would be glad to help you with that because we're in the community. We actually see what happens and how it all affects those around us. So, subscribe to the channel. If you do that, you might learn something in our journey together with vision impaired and hearing impaired people. This is Nick's Vision to Hear. I'll catch you next time.